Here is where I get to set my spirit free. Here is where I find my naturality. Where are we going?
Where are we going? Today we'll continue our conversation about Black student athletes and activism. Today I have here Nia Wattley, and she's on the volleyball team. How you doing today, Nia?
I'm doing good, Mo. Thanks for having me.
No problem. How does it feel to be in the seat?
It feels weird, I'm used to being on the other side.
Yeah.
I'm kind of scared, not gonna lie. I don't want to answer your question.
It's all right. I won't bite. So can you tell me about your volleyball experience at Stony Brook and how'd you end up here?
So, I'm from Texas, so I'm like really far from home, right? People are always like, how'd you end up on Long Island? I play volleyball, man. But then Stony Brook also has like amazing academics, so it was like a win-win for me. And my freshman year, we won a championship, the conference championship, but it was the second time we've done it in program history, so that was huge. Then it happened on my birthday, which happens to be on Tuesday.
Hey, happy birthday.
So great for that. But that was a really cool experience. Imagine being a freshman and you're not used to playing at this stage and you win the championship. And then we went on to play BYU, who I believe ended up they went pretty far in the tournament, if I remember correctly. Yeah, so that was kind of cool. And now we're fighting to get a season, honestly, because our season got postponed due to COVID and everything. So we'll have conference games, and we'll start February 28th, I believe.
And can you tell me about the distinction between being a student athlete and a Black student athlete, especially on this campus?
Yes. So I think one of the important things I've noticed that as a Black student athlete is I'm tall. I get mistaken as a basketball player. I hate it. I don't think I have a basketball build, honestly. I feel like I'm too lean to be a basketball player, and I feel like it's offensive to basketball players that I get mistaken as a basketball player. I think it also kind of, as a Black student athlete, I feel like there's more of a spotlight on me. Like I have to do more to get the same level of recognition as maybe a white athlete would need to. And I also think that people don't see me as smart or basically people don't see me as smart sometimes. People expect for me just to be able to play, but I'm a great kid, you know what I mean? I'm making A's. I'm doing great. I'm about to be in graduate school, which people don't see that when they look at me. They just see this Black kid. And I also had a hard time with like facial expressions. People constantly tell me that I need to smile more, or I look too mean, I'm showing too much emotion on my face, and I hate that because why does my white teammate get upset but I can't get upset? And it's definitely hard to be a Black athlete, I feel like. Yeah.
And so what has driven you to take more of an activism role through your athletics?
I don't know. I was really hesitant to do it at first. So in high school, when Kaepernick first kneeled, I was told that I couldn't kneel. If I kneeled, like, I was going to be in big trouble. And so for me to come here, I was still nervous about it. There's so many different things that are impacting the Black community that I want to speak out about. But as an athlete, people can sometimes pigeonhole you. And I didn't want to put my team in that position where, like, Nia kneeled, so now we can't play, I don't know, Washington State, which isn't true. But I don't want to put my team in that position, right? But I also want for the Black community not to hurt or not to be afraid of police officers. And I want us to be able to call a police officer when we're in trouble. Like, I can't say that I can't say that I'm going to call a noise complaint on the house next to me because I don't want to put that house in a situation where, have you ever seen the show, what's the name of that show? Dear Black People.
Yeah.
When they called the police, and what ended up happening was the police officer pulled a gun out on the kid. Like, you never know when one of those situations is gonna happen, and so I'm afraid to call the police. So I want to be able to speak on that on the court, but I also don't feel comfortable that everybody's gonna respond in the right way. Especially like, what if one of my teammates doesn't feel the same way that I feel about it, And then there's dissension there too. It's not good.
So we've seen professional athletes like LeBron James, Naomi Osaka, Serena Williams, Colin Kaepernick all take a stand and speak out against racial injustices that take place in this country. So my question to you is why is it that we always see the black athlete play the double role, the double hat of activist as well?
I think because it impacts us, right? You can't expect for a white person to speak out on something that a black person experiences. They've never been through that. They really can't relate to it. There's no way for us to get a white person to completely feel how we feel every single day of our lives, right? They might understand for like a minute of the day, but I mean, it's hard to show somebody what oppression, like true oppression feels like, what it feels like to be feared when you walk down the street, to be followed, to second guess whether an interaction that you had was racist or not. Like it's not the same.
Do you think that ultimately black student athletes will have to take the responsibility of being an activist on their canvases?
I think ultimately it will. We have such a big platform. People really look up to us. If LeBron wears Yeezys, kids are gonna wear Yeezys, right? LeBron wears a do-rag, so now we have kids wearing do-rags that don't even have waves, right? So what the athletes do really impacts society, and I think that's why there was so much pushback when LeBron originally supported Kaepernick and he was told to shut up and dribble, because people didn't like seeing the social norms be reversed and be pushed back and receive criticism. Yeah.
And we've seen in history athletes who do speak out oftentimes get punished and scrutinized. Tommy Smith, John Carlos, for example, the Olympics, Colin Kaepernick more recently. How does it feel being in that constant fear of, if I speak out against the stuff that affects my blackness, my livelihood, I'm going to lose my potential career, my enjoyment?
It's crazy. Like, imagine, and I mean, I guess people who aren't athletes kind of can sympathize with it, because if you say the wrong thing at work, you can get fired. It's the same thing, but I guess it's something that we love. Imagine something that you love gets taken away from you because you're also talking about something else that you love and something that impacts you. Because when I leave the court, I'm still black. I'm still subject to all of the things that happen to all of my other black brothers and sisters, and it's wild. I can't separate the two. There's no way for me to separate the two. And it's crazy that people want us to separate the two, because if LeBron wasn't LeBron, he would have just as hard of a time as anybody else. The only thing that's saving LeBron is LeBron's name and his status.
What is your biggest goal for the Black Student Athlete Huddle on campus?
I hope that we're able to, I guess, just kind of support each other, because I know not all of our teams have black kids on them, and then some of our teams only have 1 or 2 black kids, and that can be a hard situation, especially for the teams that we have that only have 1 or 2 black kids. Those teams are huge, and people don't understand how hard it is to be the only person from your community in a room full of faces that may or may not like you, may or may not support you, may or may not understand everything that you've gone through and how you feel and how certain things that are said or done can impact you in a negative light. And I hope that we're able to just support each other and find friendship and get to know each other through all of the hardships that we go through, and also just kind of laugh. Like every night, like everybody needs to laugh. I feel like laughter is one of the best medicines. Yeah, if you're able to release that serotonin in your brain, you're set.
Well, I appreciate you for having this conversation with me today, Nia, and thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Don't turn around, just keep moving forward.